Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. If you have not been here before, my name is Jessica and I am a homeschooling mama of 4 little girls. They are 2, 4, 10, and 12, and they will be in preschool, kindergarten, 5th grade, and 7th grade this upcoming school year. And today I wanted to come to you with a video just kind of covering everything homeschool related, from how do I begin all the way up to what we're using. I asked over on social media if anyone had an interest in this kind of topic, and so many did, and I feel like I'm getting questioned every day. So I just wanted to throw in kind of what we're using and how we do it. I am not a professional. I do not claim to know much of anything or everything, but I did want to at least share what I know and am doing because it seems to be working for us. So if you are already homeschooling and you're just here for the tour, you might want to fast forward until you see me showing you all this behind me. If you're new, stick around and I'll go through really quickly the basics. I'm going to try to keep this video very short. I'm going to start with kind of the rules and things like that, and then move on to the tour and then our curriculum and things like that. And I plan to break it up into each of my children's grade level so that it's easier to scroll through and things like that. I do not expect you to watch through the whole thing. But that being said, let's get to the basics. So I know that current situations in our country and the world right now have lots of people looking into homeschooling. It is legal in all 50 states in the United States, so no worries there. If your child is in school currently, you do need to formally withdraw them. You can email the office, the principal, and see what you need to do there. I remember signing a form saying that I formally was withdrawing my children. And it's very easy. Even if they did finish the school year and you just don't register for them for the next school year, you do still need to withdraw them, so know that. A lot of questions that people want to know with homeschooling is, am I going to mess things up for them? And the short answer is probably not. If you look at kids at any school setting, whether public, private, homeschool, whatever, some kids are going to turn out very successful and some aren't. So that's in any scenario, no matter their schooling. A lot of it has to do with their learning style and how they process things, and maybe the help they're getting outside of that. So if you are committed to helping them with anything they need and making sure they get through, I think you'll be okay. And a benefit to homeschooling is that you can customize things to make it fit more to their needs. I have 4 kids, like I said, and none of them are the same. They all learn completely different. So one of the good things about that is I can make it on each of their levels as to how they learn. You're going to have your first year. I would suggest make it as simple as you can and kind of just prepackaged so that you're not having to come up with lots of things. It is stressful, I know that. I remember spending hours and hours and days and weeks of researching, and the more I researched, the more I just felt like my head was spinning. I could not just wrap my mind around what I wanted to do. So just pick something and kind of whatever your budget is, that's probably what you'll have to go off of. But just don't put a lot of pressure on yourself that first year. You're going to do lots of learning, and every year you're going to learn and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. We will start our 3rd year of homeschooling this year, and we still change it every year. And I feel like we get a little more comfortable with it every year. And so as you get more comfortable, you don't mind changing things, that it's kind of exciting. It's intimidating that first year, but don't let that freak you out. So here's a question also. What about, I'm not a certified teacher, can I teach my children? Yes, I am not certified. Most people are not certified. If you are certified, that's great. You probably have many different techniques that you can use with your children that I would not know about, or other people. But in our current day and age, technology is so advanced that there's no reason anybody couldn't homeschool. There are so many videos to help, so many curriculums that provide video lessons where you don't have to do all of the work. So yes, you can teach. Another question, and this is probably the biggest one, and I get it all the time, is what about socializing my kids? Are they just hermits and don't have any human interaction? No. If anything, my kids are more social now than they were in school. There's so many different areas. If you're involved in a church, that's always great for socializing. Co-ops, sports, activities, so many different things. Yes, your kids can still do things. Look in your area, research what there is. A lot of areas do have homeschooling sports teams, or they can still do things through your school. Contact your local school and just see what they provide for homeschoolers. Some do allow children to come take classes one day a week with them, some of the extra things you couldn't provide at home. They could join 4-H. They can do so many different things. So just because you homeschool does not mean that everything is suddenly off limits. So do your research and figure out what you can do in your area there. The next thing is, what about standardized testing? I know that is one of the biggest things that stress children out, teachers out, parents out during the school year. So people always wonder, do you have to do that at home? In Texas, you do not. You can. You do not. I probably this next school year will do that with my children because we will finish our 3rd year and haven't done that yet. So just through my research, I found that it would be beneficial just every couple or so years just to test them and see where they're at. You don't have to put the pressure on them that they would in the schools, but it is nice just to know I need to work on this area or that area, or they're doing well there. And don't let that as a parent stress you out, because that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're not capable of homeschooling if they do terrible in math and good at language arts, or if they just don't do good at much of anything. All that does is tell you where you need to put in the extra work. And so it can be beneficial, but it is not required. A great resource for you to check out, and you can select it by state, is hslda.org. That is the official homeschooling website. So just go there and you can research for days on all of that. And you can also sign up for emails to be informed on just kind of what's going on. And it's kind of neat to keep up with. So the next thing is, okay, so I'm going to homeschool. What do I need to teach them? Every state is different, so make sure you research for your particular state. I am in Texas, and I know that probably most of my viewers, if not all, will be in Texas. And so these are the rules for Texas. Instruction must be bona fide, not a scam. You have to really be doing something. It has to be legit. The second thing is that the curriculum must be visual, workbooks, books, video monitors, things like that. You can't just make it up, or you can't just talk all day and not have anything to show for it. The third thing is that you must have the basic subjects of reading, spelling, grammar, math, and good citizenship. And so that's pretty basic. You can, of course, do way more than that if it's your first year and you want to just stick with that. I'm sure that would be fun too. You'll get more comfortable about adding things in as you go. So those are the basics for Texas. Is anyone going to come beat on your door to see if you're following that? No. Are you going to have to submit anything to show that you're doing that? No. Texas is one of the most lenient states to homeschool in. People do move here just to homeschool. And so that is one of the good things about Texas. And hopefully that does not change anytime soon, if not ever. But that's how it currently is. And so, Texas is really just, they kind of believe you're doing what you say. So that's how that is. I do recommend for older children, and it is recommended for sure in high school, to document what you do, keep a planner, things like that, keep a few lessons throughout the year to save, and just so you have that as to prove that you did something, especially if your children are in high school and you're going to be applying to colleges and taking tests and things like that. Save whatever you can just so that you can back that up. Kindergarten, preschool, things like that, there is no sense in doing any of that. I will not do that with mine. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics for all of that. So now that has been said, we will move on into what's behind me. Welcome to my homeschool tour for the 2020-21 school year. We just redid this area over the summer, and I am so happy with it. It just really added a lot of character. For our house, it is open floor plan, and so everything's just central right here. We have the kitchen and the living room are just all together. I wanted it to look like a home, but also be able to accommodate for our school things. I will say, first off, if you have this layout, you may want to get your children some earbuds if they have trouble focusing. It does get noisy, and I'll talk later about the options for that, but just know that up front. I'm just going to kind of walk you through everything, and then I'll break it down by grade. We have our whiteboard, which I use a lot, and then the girls a lot of times will record grades, or they did last year if they were doing things online. This year, not so much. But going left to right, we just have decor, and then we keep a memory bucket back here. Has nothing to do with school. This is our spelling board. You'll see why in a minute, but these are all our magnetic tiles, and that's just an easy way. I'm throwing them down. I think one went behind there. That's just an easy way to keep that there. I have not used them yet, but the idea is to be able to put a word together on the whiteboard and just have it right here. We'll see how long it takes for my children to get into them. And then we have all of our supplies. No, these are not breakable. They're plastic. I did think of that, but everything basic is right here. Lots of glue. Erasable pens are so fun. Pencils and mechanical pencils. I really, really love these Twistable crayons for my little kids. They just don't break like the real crayons do, and they're nice and they look better. And lots of markers, colored pencils. I added this year, fun little date changer, we'll see. And then this has been our summer reading, just all these who was, what was books. We love these. And then I'll go ahead and move across this way. This is our morning basket, and we start every morning out together. I will pull everything out for you and show you what is in that in a minute. Then going this way, I have my schedule. This is specifically for me. I had to strategically work out exactly how I was going to be able to teach all of my children and not lose my mind and not have things overlapping. So after redoing it, I don't even know how many times, I finally got it printed and put up there. So that's what that is. And it just tells me at this time, you need to teach this child this child that. And so that I can keep it all together. Will we follow that perfectly? No. But will it help me keep my sanity? Yes. So that's what that is. Up here, this is our reading log, I guess you could say. Each of the kids has a necklace, and then they have these beads. Probably every 20 minutes worth of reading, they will get to add one. And then we have incentives for them. We have like Shrinky Dinks left over from last year. I'll add different things like that. You can go out for ice cream. And you can decide how many as a parent, if you did this, maybe every 5 beads for the little kids or every 10 beads for the big kids. So that's something fun. I'll be honest and say I wasn't great about keeping up with that last year, but since I'm adding 2 more in this year, I do plan to get better. Now, they cannot read. Macy will learn to read in kindergarten, but it'll be a while, and Ellie absolutely cannot. But in their schedule, you'll see that I have reading time planned for them every day, so that will count. And then moving on this way, this will go with mornings. I'll show you that in a minute. We have stickers whenever they make hundreds on their paper, or if I just think they did a good job, I'll let them come pick a sticker, and that's really fun for them. Their beads I've shown you. Extra things, these come in handy so much, especially last year we studied the United States and did a postcard for every state. The little binder rings, they're so handy. Command strips. That's also really good. That is what is holding those 2 things up so that I didn't have to actually screw into my brand new shiplap walls. And then index cards. These are great for spelling. We need to get more. We fly through them, but just things that are easy for the kids to access right here. And then a pencil sharpener I have to keep hidden so my little kids don't put their fingers in it. And then we have the desktop for typing and things like that. This is technically my desk. This is where I will sit when I need to while they're doing their independent work. But this year, I'm probably not going to be doing much sitting, so it'll be mainly just for typing. And this is just where we keep the extra supplies. I tell them it's off limits, but that never really works through. We have a ton of highlighters. A lot of times they like to highlight off their planner, their checklist in their planner, and make it rainbow and all of that. So just everything they could need there. These are excellent for preschoolers, and these are scented. The dot markers, they stamp the paper. You can download sheets with dots in them. They absolutely love that. And also they like using the dot stickers for that. That's a tip. If you have a preschooler and you just need some busy work for them while you teach one of your other ones, they will have a blast with that. And a lot of times what I'll do, since she can't necessarily peel them off herself, I'll peel them off and just kind of hang them off the edge of this table down it, and she loves going through and putting them in there. So that is that. And here, this is the post that made everyone say they needed more information, and so I'll walk you through these. So that is our homeschool tour area, and now I will move on into specific grade levels. One thing I did forget whenever I was going through my desk is this is also an incentive. It is our treasure box. It's not super stocked right now. It's got some stuff left over from last year and just basic things. But whenever they make a 100 or I just decide they've had a good grade, they can come get one of these. They're limited to 1 per day. So if they try to outsmart you and get 5 100s in a day, they don't get 5 treats. But they really enjoy that. So moving on, this is preschool. I am not finished labeling things, so just excuse that. But I will start with our busy bins. You see there's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. There is no Wednesday. That is personally our co-op day. So I saw no sense in making that because we do co-op, lunch, nap time, and then it's church. So it would just be pointless. I got this idea from Pursuing Peace over on YouTube. Also, I will link her below. She gave me these ideas. I watched her video and I absolutely loved it. I love everything of hers, and so I knew I had to incorporate it. But it's very simple, but this is just for my youngest, my 2-year-old. Whenever I'm teaching my other kids, I need something for her to do. There's about a 45-minute stretch in there, and she may not make it through that, but a lot of times she does. I let her use this for the first time the other day, and she had a blast. This is a water wow. You fill this up with water, and you can paint, and once it dries, the ink disappears again, and so it's really neat. I got these for $5 at Target. They're also on Amazon, but they were actually cheaper in Target. They were over near the party aisle in those little craft sections. And she's got Play-Doh things. She's got these little Mickey Mouse shaped cards from the Dollar Tree. She's got this little book, I think also from the Dollar Tree. She absolutely loves school buses. So I'm keeping it kind of different for each day and also simple so that she's not overwhelmed. And every so often I will rotate things in and out, seasonal type things. These are magniformers, I believe they're called. They are expensive, I'm not going to lie, but if you go to Hobby Lobby and buy them, you can use your 40% off coupon and save so much. This small thing would have been $50 there, and I would never pay that. And I actually had a gift card, and so I used the 40% off coupon and was able to pay for that with all of that. So it was very nice, and she loves it. There's an instruction booklet that just gives you different ideas. They sell them at Target also. And this is just random and made up, but this is actually an Instapot egg cooker thing where you can make the eggs like Starbucks. But one day we had these extra pom-poms and she decided she wanted to sort them, and that has become one of her favorite things. So I got her the little tweezers from the Dollar Tree, and so we can dump them out and she can just sort them by color. She loves it. I also got little chalkboards and chalk, just different things like that. The next day, you can see it through here, is another water wow, a puzzle, and an Usborne tracing type book. You trace with your finger. Thursdays is super simple for us because I have found that after co-op day, they are exhausted. It's hard to get them up, so I don't plan for much to be going on that day for her. Friday, these are Lakeshore learning keys. You can order them on Lakeshore. I think by the time you pay shipping and everything, they're $20. I went on eBay and got them cheaper than that. I don't think this is all the keys. Sometimes they get into them, but it's just fun for them to go through and string the keys on and just have fun with that. And then the little letter mat is from the Dollar Tree. They have all different kinds, and she loves just to pop those in and out. I also got this at the Dollar Tree. It's just a scrapbook paper. I haven't opened it yet, so I guess you get a tiny preview. But she absolutely loves to cut. She's super good, like so good that she's given her big sister to haircuts. Not good, but since she can cut, I'm going to let her use this and just sit down and just cut paper. That is something she likes to do. So it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be super elaborate, but these will be her bins, and I'll just give her one and move on to the next day and switch it out like I said. The next thing, and I need to come up with a cute label for this. This is from Jady. She is on YouTube also, and I will link that down below as well. This is super, super neat. It's a learning binder. I think it was a $10 PDF purchase, and it's going to be so worth it. I'll go over it with our circle time in a minute, but there's letters, just memory work. This part's just kind of going through numbers, letters, colors, different things like that, shapes. And I love that they're black and white, because I have found with preschoolers that if they're different colors, they want to just name the color instead of the shape. And so I'll have to go back and say blue circle, no, it's red square, different things like that. I'll have to go back and say, no, it's a blue circle, you know. And so I love that it's black and white. And then for the fun pages, I am not finished putting this together, but you can still get what it's supposed to be. So they're all put together to begin with, but you just take them off. They're Velcro, and she can match up yellow, blue, red, and it starts off simple, and the further you get along, the harder it's supposed to be. I have no reason seeing why she wouldn't be able to already do almost all of this, but this, for example, is going to be more challenging for a 2-year-old. She will be 3 in December, and so this is something that I would like to work with her on. How many animals are in each box? And there are numbers to go with it, so sure, she could tell me, but does she know the number? Not yet. So that's something that we will work on. And then there's one section that I especially like. Let's see if I can find it for you right here. The consonants. We are going to be going over the consonants we have already before. They know the consonants, but we're going to go more in depth and be able to label a whole lot more than just the consonant. And so I think that would be fun just for her to match up her puzzle pieces with it. And I love that it goes with it. And then you even go to the solar system. You've got the planets, and that is actually going to be one of our studies you'll see. I will link this. And I think that if you have a 2 or 3-year-old, they are going to love it. The next thing, this is not very formal, but with our little section, that's all I could come up with. Those are just more Velcro dots for this. I ordered these specifically off of Amazon. Those exact ones are really, really good. I've ordered some that peel off real easily, but these are good, and they have to set for 15 minutes before you can use them, so that makes them really good. I've got her schedule, which is kind of a glare, so I don't know that I can go over it super well, but you can kind of see there. And she's 2. Of course, we will not follow this perfectly, but this helps me in a pinch know what I can do with her while I'm teaching some of her other siblings. So to start off with, we've got her handwriting book, and this is from The Good and the Beautiful, and I did add some vinyl on it because that's how I roll. But this is just the doodles and pre-writing. It is not letters yet. There is one after this that's letters, but she is nowhere near ready for that. This is just tracing, and we can work on pencil grip and things like that. She really already has her pencil grip. But I thought that would be fun for her. Very simple. Just we'll do 1 page per day. And then moving on, this was just a book I had bought one year. I threw in there just colors. She really knows her colors, but sometimes she acts like she forgets, so I thought that would be fun for her whenever I say, go read your book, go pick a book and read it. These are some of the books that she can go through. That's really not supposed to be in there, but she loves that book from Chick-fil-A. Just little board books. This was mine when I was little. I love it. And then she loves the monkey song, so I thought that would be fun for her. And then that is something for our morning work, which I'll get into later. And then I also have these that I made last year. Just some more coloring. Sometimes at circle time, we'll sit through and go through the colors. And then you'll see what I'm talking about here with the shapes, like black hexagon, brown diamond. I didn't prefer the color review and the shapes, but we have them, and it's still just an extra color review anyways. So that's kind of the basics for what my preschooler will use. I will say that if you have a 3-year-old already and maybe 3.5, I would look into the Letter of the Week by Confessions of a Homeschooler. That is what I did for my 3-year-old last year, who is now 4. And that's what I'll use next year on whenever my youngest is 3. So if this is too easy for yours, then consider moving on to that. If they're 2, 2.5, not quite yet 3, I think this would be perfect. And you could add little bits here and there, and they'll also learn with their siblings if there's an older sibling. So next I will move on to kindergarten. Now for kindergarten, this is the one that I am so excited about. I have never taught kindergarten before, so if you have and you're watching this, you may see something that maybe I don't know yet, I haven't figured out yet, but I'm so excited to figure all of that out. You'll see that I have this stored on my shelf like this. These are Latchmate bins. You can get them at Michael's. Even the Dollar General has them, which is the same price as Michael's sale price, so either way you can pay the same. Hobby Lobby has some. They didn't have clear when I went. They just had the aqua. But this is I believe the 14 quart. And to be honest, there needs to be more sizes. I needed one a little bit bigger, but not the giant one. And then I needed one a little smaller just for this, but they didn't make that. So that's why I could not store that in there. I played around with it. I made lots of purchases and returns to try to nail it just right, and I didn't. So this is just what I came up with, and I think it will work. Last year I used rolling bins, and those worked really well, but it's just hard in a tight space to keep up with all of that. So these are just our extras box. We've got her pencil, her little pencil grip. This has been really good for her. She puts her 2 fingers in there and just naturally teaches her how to hold it. Just crayons, the little manipulatives that came with her program. Her first reader books, different things like that. Little sister is likely to get into it, but I don't know. There's not much you can do with that. But usually things don't get lost. They eventually get found here. So we try to keep it pretty clean, you can see, so that when she does get things out, it's easy to locate. So that is all of that. It would be nice to just be able to pull that out and have it all there. I will start by saying we are going to be using the Good and the Beautiful for our curriculum this year. I have not used them for anything above this level right here. I did start my 4-year-old on this around spring break. We did Letter of the Week, and I just felt like she could use a little more because I played with the thought of, can she start kindergarten at 4? Can she not? And she is very different than all of my other kids. She processes a little bit different, and so that helps her kind of retain things better. I'm not going to say she's the world's smartest child or anything like that, but she just, the way she processes, she can handle a challenge. And so we started with this, and we are still not finished. I planned it out where we could work on it through summer and finish it right up when she's starting kindergarten so that she didn't have a gap of not learning anything. But this is the Level K primer. I do encourage you to start with this and not necessarily just move on to kindergarten unless you know for sure they already know all of this. But from another video I watched also, they do need to know their vowels, their short vowel sounds, you know, be able to know their letters, their numbers, how to write them. And sure, if they do not have it mastered, that is okay. But if they don't know absolutely any of that, it's not going to go well with the kinder. So that's where we're at. We are almost finished with it. And I think that it'll be okay. We're going to take a very slow approach to kindergarten since she is so young. The good thing about homeschooling is she would not start kindergarten until next year technically. But since we're not under any rules or laws by that, I can start her now. Her birthday is in the fall, so she'll turn 5 in the fall. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So we're going to try. But I did this with all of my kids. I made their schedule and put it on the inside of their Latchmate bin because I could just see it getting misplaced, and it's a lot harder to misplace a lid than a piece of paper, and I have that laminated. So this is her schedule. She will start out, and this isn't exactly, about 8:30 we'll kind of gather up. Everybody will be ready for the day, have beds made, hopefully things like that, our basic chores done just to help us get the day started better. We'll have breakfast, we'll have a devotional time together, and then at 9 we'll start what I call our calendar time activities. I did get this from Confessions of a Homeschooler. This is a editable file that you can download and work on yourself for free. So go to confessionsofahomeschooler.com for that. I love this. I used this last year and it has just been so nice. So we'll start with math, and you'll see that for kindergarten, about 20 minutes per subject is the maximum amount of time that they can really concentrate, or for her for sure. Kindergartners, especially since you're getting one-on-one, they don't need, an hour length class. So she'll start with math, she'll move on to phonics, then we'll have circle time, and you see that circle time is only 5 minutes, and that's because we had the 9 o'clock calendar time. We'll probably just read a super quick Bible story and sing some songs and maybe run through letters and things like that. But they also, for a 2-year-old and 4-year-old, really you want 1 minute per age. So 2 minutes to 4 minutes, they're almost 3 and 5. So 5 minutes max really is all anyone can sit there for. And then she moves on to free time, and that is just to give her little mind a break so that we're not trying to cram all of this in at one time. And also it helps me line up everybody else's schedule so that I can teach her older siblings during that time. Then she comes back and we have reading. This glare, I can't really get it. She has reading, which you'll see is only 10 minutes. She cannot yet read, but we will be working through that. And then we have a whole hour scheduled for lunch. We have outside a couple days. We have PE a couple of days. We have a park nearby, and I told them, we could always pack up our lunch and just go have an hour at the park and then come back and finish school, or we can go outside for a walk. We can do things like that. And then she comes back and she is going to do science with us. That is not something that you have to do in kindergarten, but when you have older siblings, they do like to do what the older ones are doing also. And so I am going to include both her and my 2-year-old in that also. And I'll show you the curriculum for that. And then at 1:30, she has a learning DVD and a learning app, and they repeat that twice a week. For the learning app, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to download. I looked into ABC Mouse, different things like that. There's so many different options, so you can't go wrong there. The learning DVD, we love the Leapfrog DVDs, and we have 4 of them. I think we've got math, letters, just different things like that, and they absolutely love them. And so that's just kind of some busy work, and TV, but without being, just a pointless show to watch while I help one of the other children's. Then you'll see the blank spots for 1:45. That is because on Fridays we will all do art together. And then Wednesdays are our co-op days, and we're off once, sometimes twice a month. We could technically do school those days, but we are not going to. And there will be days where we add in like some reading, some extra stuff, but we're not following a formal schedule for that day. So this is my kindergarten schedule. And now what's in the box, it is not organized in order by this schedule yet. It will be, but for now it's just all thrown in here, which is a start. So I got these for free yesterday when I watched a video that I had purchased. And these are sight words. There's kindergarten and there's K4 levels. Some of them are duplicates, but some of them are different. And so it's a caterpillar. Here's the head. I haven't cut it out yet. I'm going to do some sort of wall maybe over here. I want to get a bulletin board, but I may just end up taping it to the actual wall. And FYI, Marvelous tape is absolutely great for things like that because it does not pull paint off and it holds well. So look at Mardell or Amazon for that. I need some more, so I can't show you. My dog started barking in the background. Excuse that. So we will work on 1 word a day, or however, we'll work on 1 word at a time. And once she has say out learned, we'll add it to our caterpillar head, and we'll just keep going and make a caterpillar. That isn't where it starts. It starts somewhere in here, of course, with the basics like A and things like that. I can't find it, but that will be one thing. We incorporate that into our calendar time. These are just some books that I have had for many years. I got when my oldest 2 were little, and they're Meet the Sight Words books, just simple readers. And so that's just something that I'll give her in her reading time to look through, especially as she learns these sight words. She'll be able to do that, and she had a blast looking at it the other night. This, I hate that I don't have it put together for you, but this was on Pursuing Peace, but she got it from somewhere else, so I will try to link that below. This is the Happy Planner. This is just the basic one. The $10.99 one, you can get it on sale, so it's super cheap. They only had 3 different options, but it's cute enough. So what we're going to do, these are blank pages. We're going to turn it into a calendar type thing so that she can just go through keeping up with things like that. Different little things to add in there. I got pockets and I got tabs to add. I'll add that video below because I really can't fully remember what all I'm supposed to be doing with this because I bought it so long ago. Next, this we used last year and I loved it so much. I just want to keep using it. I got it also from Pursuing Peace. I want to give credit wherever I got all of this stuff and not take it as my own idea. So that's why I keep mentioning that. These are just letter flashcards. I made these, printed them myself because I couldn't find what I wanted. But it was recommended to, there's a hair on there. It was recommended to start with just the lowercase letters because when you do read a book, most letters are lowercase, only the first word or formal names are capitalized. So they're going to recognize these first. And so for circle time, we'll just sing through the ABCs and I'll point to them as we go. And then we have the letters where we'll say the short sound. We'll say the short sound for each one. Ah, b, cut, like that. We'll go through each and I won't tell them what letter it is. I'll ask them what that is and they'll just say the sound. They can say the letter name too, but they really like saying the sounds. And we'll go through it once or twice a day. And in 2 weeks' time, my 4-year-old already knew almost every single one of them, and by the end of the school year she did know them all. So I thought this was a really great resource and I want to keep doing it so that she remembers, and also so my 2-year-old can pick up more on it. She loves doing it too, she just hasn't fully processed it yet. But that is super good. That is part of what was in that binder that I showed you, that I said I'll show you at circle time. It came in that download, but I at the time did not have that download, so I just made it. So you can totally make it for free yourself and then laminate it. Next, I almost showed you this, but I'm not going to, but it is a laminated page that contains our address and my phone number, our main phone number, and then 911. And I taught her to memorize that so that she knows where we live, if she was lost, what my number is, things like that, and who she needs to call if something happened and we couldn't get to the phone to call. So I encourage you to do that, incorporate that into your circle time, your calendar time, whatever. It's really good and they pick up so quickly. The next is for Bible. I have really gone through so many different books. I don't have a favorite, but this is one that I just felt like I needed to use more of, just to try to work for both of their levels. I'll go through this in a minute also. Then for her handwriting, this is the Good and the Beautiful. As I said, we're using that for pretty much everything this year. Kind of going backwards for you, but just a fun little picture, connect the dots. She loves that. And just very simple. I also looked into handwriting without tears and I just decided to keep it all as the Good and the Beautiful. So I don't think you could go wrong either way there. This is her level K reader. As you'll see, she will not be able to start out kindergarten doing that, but we will get through it. And it's hard for me to even imagine that she'll be reading this by the end of it. They grow so much in that year. And then this did come with a little calendar. I said I was doing one for that one. So we can do both. We can do one or the other, but it came with it, and so I have it. These are extras that came with her language arts or math. Oh, these are just extra manipulatives. Some different things that she'll need. There's my place value chart. I have pockets somewhere. Now it has dawned on me what those pockets were for. But let me get to the rest of it. So here we are, place value pieces. You can cut those out. I need to do that so that we're not scrambling on the first day of school for that. Just different work mats. This all came with her math. And so I just stored it in this folder. And then we have language arts, the course book, and just to flip through some of the lessons with you. I'll show you kind of what we start off with. Or right at the beginning. This is lesson 1. That's just for the whole little section. Anyways, They're learning to blend words, and she really loves doing that already at age 4, which is one of the reasons why I went ahead and moved her to kindergarten early. She likes to figure things out. So their curriculum is really pretty to me, and it just looks so fun. I love color, and I know that my kids do as well. And then for math, there are actually 2 books. I'm just keeping the first one in here until we finish it because I didn't have room for both. And just to flip through it for you. And that's what most of that stuff goes with. But I really liked it. I originally bought Becca Math, which also looked really good. And I love the book. I still have it, and I'm going to keep it. But I really wanted to try this one also. So I kind of got both. You can never have too much. So that is, in a nutshell, what we are doing for kindergarten level. Okay, I wanted to flip the camera back around since I was going to talk for a minute about grade levels before I moved on any further. I keep saying I'm going to explain it, and then I haven't explained it yet. You will see, and you have been seeing, our math levels and our language arts, I believe, and then you'll see spelling. Their grade and the level does not match up. So you're going to see maybe a grade 5, but a level 3, or things like that. Last year, my older girls went a grade ahead in math for the particular program we were using. That just seemed to match up. I felt like it was a little behind, so we went a grade ahead. And they did excellent in it. They passed, they made A's, B's, but every once in a while towards the end, they would bomb something. And I finally nailed it down to what it was and just decided that since they had already went a grade ahead, this year we would stop and we would backtrack and we would master particular things before we moved on any further. I felt like that was the best option for us. If you are a first-year homeschooler, that's going to freak you out. Hearing that, I would have freaked out. I probably would have even freaked out my second year. But now that we've got some experience under our belts, and I know that you shouldn't be as scared as people typically are of things. I know that it would be best just to stop right now, 5th and 7th grade. That's not crucial to master some things before we move on to high school level, 8th, 9th, even levels like that. So that in the long run, it's second nature to them. They know the rules, they know how to apply, and they don't have to even doubt it or second guess it. So that is why I took this approach. That may sound crazy to you, and if you are a certified teacher, that may sound crazy to you and you may get it. I don't know, but that's just what we decided to do, and that is for, like I said, language arts, math, and spelling, and I'll explain it a little bit more in depth as we go. So I wanted to stop and let you know that before I moved on any further. This particular program is Math UC. This is Math Gamma. This is just focusing on single and multiple digit multiplication. That does mean that they will basically do one thing all year. There are other things incorporated in there, so we will find out. That may be boring for her and it may not. But I really wanted to master this before we moved on any further with division. And so on the first day of the unit, she will watch a DVD and have a small lesson to go with it. It's labeled like 1A, 1B, like that. So you'll see this goes with the DVD. And it's big print and lots of working space, so I like that. And then there's C. And I'm flipping through a little fast, but it goes all the way through F, I believe. Let's see. No, it goes through G. But we are not going to do every single one. Some of them are repetitive and some of them are incorporating other topics into other lessons into it that they should go over. And so I think we're doing A, B, C, D, and then maybe G, the application and enrichment. I believe that's right. I hope I'm telling you right. But just something a little extra for her, so it's not just repetitive, but she is still getting that extra work at the end of it. And you'll just keep moving on with that. And then there's also a test booklet. I think she'll have it on the G day where she does G, she'll do G, and then she'll do a test because we actually have math for an hour, so that's plenty of time. But I just love all the workspace room. And yes, that looks super easy, especially for a 5th grader. It is, and parts of that she will know, but there will be times where she gets tripped up on something else. Look right here where we get into that may be a stumbling block for her, but she'll learn, and then she will be so confident with math or with multiplication that she won't even have to second guess it. So that's kind of the point of Math UC, is just to make them confident and just not have to really think about it. They just automatically do it. That is a master approach, is why that looks so different than regular traditional school. This is Read and Comprehend skill sheet from Becca. Every Friday she is going to do one of these. They are time tests. So right here she has 4.5 minutes to read this and answer the questions, which that's a lot in that short amount of time. But what that does is just kind of make sure she's comprehending in a short amount of time. It does work if you were doing a standardized testing, and since I said I am this year, I wanted to do this. You know, I wanted to do copy a little bit of what traditional school is like. I'm not just a completely unschooled type person. I kind of float back and forth with the idea, but I really like traditional more than anything. But she'll do that, and I believe 5 or 6 was the highest they went in that. So I did not have that for my older daughter. This is the brand new The Good and the Beautiful Level 3 Language Arts. And she probably could have started at 4. Level 4, level 5 would be actual technical 5th grade, but level 5 can also be 6th grade. So like I said, I bumped way down to level 3 because I'd rather it be a little too easy and blow through it and have to get more than to struggle. So they just released this in May. I could not wait to get my hands on it. It is so simple. There are literally 3 books to keep up with. And it's so pretty. You've got, this is poetry. She'll memorize poems. You've got her personal reader. It is big print. I love big print. I think she does too. And the words are pretty easy, but she does have reading to challenge her in other areas. And then it's just a little detailed lesson book here. Like you'll see, lesson 2 is super easy, the subject of a sentence. She knows that. And I expect the beginning to blow right through these, but really grade school, you just repeat the same thing over and over and over anyways. And so some homeschoolers really don't teach anything formal for language arts until I believe after 5th grade and up. So if she's had it all these other years and we're backtracking a little, I do believe we're okay. So that is for language arts. And then we have typing. The last 2 years we have done typing, and we've done it online with a DVD, and they've loved it, but we decided we needed a change this year. And so I got The Good and the Beautiful, and again, level 1, but I wanted to just go back and start at the beginning if I was starting a new program. So what this is she will actually open like Microsoft Word, something like that, and actually type up documents with this. As you get further in, you'll do words, paragraphs, things like that. I thought this was going to be way better for them than what we had been doing. What we had been doing was really, really good, but I like this and them actually getting familiar with pulling up documents and programs and things like that. And I just don't think you could ever start too early. I, as an adult, wish I had started earlier and really learned to like typing a lot more than I did. But they may blow right through this and need level 2. I think it goes through level 3, and that's okay. I just wanted to start from the beginning. And these are our Math UC manipulatives. This is required if you do Math UC. It's the basic kit that you start out with, and as you get into older levels, you do add things with it. My kids have gotten into it a little bit, and I stored on the side so it gets messed up. But these are just blocks that you can build with. If I can get them apart with one hand, they come apart, but you get the idea. So it helps you visually learn. It helps visual learners. I am a visual learner. My 5th grader, I feel like, isn't always a visual learner. My 7th grader is, and it helps you. If you need to picture your math, this will do the trick. If you want to see more, go to mathuc.com, I believe, and they have little examples of what they do, and it's so good. I think it will just really be good for them. But this is the basic kit for both my girls. So I really had to plan out the schedule just right so they weren't both needing this at the same time, because it is expensive and I was not purchasing 2. So know that if you have more than one child, they will need it. You can let them share, just plan their math out at different time. So that is all for 5th grade, and now we'll move on to 7th. This is for 7th grade. I'm going to go over the schedule this time. We started out with calendar time, formally as school started, and so I have that bin for you to finally go through. We have a speaker in there. Last year we learned the states and their capitals, and so I played a video and we listened to it. This year we're going to review that from time to time, and we're also going to learn the presidents, so I like to leave that out. Okay, so we'll start off with a prayer. We'll say the pledge. My youngest two love to hold flags. They fight over who holds it, so a lot of times they both do, and they both know the pledge. It's so cute. We'll do that. We have a devotional. I got this, as you can see, for a reduced price at Hobby Lobby, but I think you can get it the same price on Amazon. But How Great is Our God, 100 Indescribable Devotions About God and Science. I love to incorporate the Bible and science together. I really think that's neat to be able to put both in there. Then moving on, we will have a family read aloud time. Another one of our devotionals. I'm about to tell you about this finally, and then I've got some cards in here. I'm not going to necessarily show you because it's kind of confidential, of the girls we sponsor and overseas, and just their prayer cards to help us remind us to pray for them, and we get updates from them, so it's fun to keep those cards in there and look through that. These are the Good and the Beautiful geography and grammar cards. They are for levels 4 through 7, so they will be great for both of my older girls. Moving on, this is Classical Conversations, Foundations. We're going to do cycle 1 this year. We have the world map, and each one of my kids has it. And for each cycle, you focus on a certain area. So we've got Africa. I can't remember what all else they're going to do. I know it's more than just that, but I kind of focus on a little bit each year and not all of it all at once. So that will be this year. So all of my kids have one. We can look at it every morning. And that is for circle time. I'm going to move through very quickly. I'm trying not to make this video too ridiculously long, although I think it already is. This is another Kay Arthur Discover for Yourself. This is her Bible. This is Cracking the Covenant Code. It's kind of a mystery type thing. You have to break the code and figure out what it's saying. This is the reader that she chose. She's very into history, president. She chose Abraham Lincoln, and I bought several books, and I just knew this was going to be the first one she picked to read. And I said, go through your books and see what you want to read first. And sure enough, that's what she picked. Her map. This is the extras I was telling you about. If you watch the 5th grade part for Matthew C, if not, there is a manipulative kit that comes with it. And this is the extra that you do have to have for the level she is on and above. It's the fraction overlay kit, and if you look at the kit or the videos, you'll see how that works. Her DVD that she will watch the first day, and then she'll do a lesson also that day. She'll do 4 lessons on the 5th. It'll be kind of a review, and then she'll have a test with it also. This is fractions. I wanted to specifically focus on fractions before we moved on any further with her, so that's what we're going to do since she already technically did 7th grade math last year. This is handwriting. You don't have to have handwriting in 7th grade, but she thinks it's fun, and so I went ahead and got her level 7. It's much smaller print. She's going to write more, but I don't feel like you can ever practice cursive too much. Creative writing. If you watch the 5th grade part, you already saw this. If not, I'm just going to go through really quickly. It's just different topics. It's kind of like writing prompts. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think what I was going to say. Just kind of little writing prompts. And then this was also in 5th grade. If you watch that, if not, she's going to be able to open a document on the computer and type. We have done typing. This will be our 3rd year to do typing. I changed it up this year because I want them to actually be able and go in and type up a document, which she's been able to do before, but we're just kind of reviewing before we move on any further. And then this is the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts. As I explained to you previously, if you did not see this, you might want to rewind a little bit. We backtrack. She's grade 7, but we're going to do level 5 because I wanted to go way under and make sure that she just knew everything she could need to know before she gets older. I did an assessment with her. She could have went to level 6, which would actually be 7th grade, 6th or 7th grade, either way. But I wanted to go down a little bit further because I felt like there were some things in the assessment that she didn't know there. So just take the assessment if you're interested in that, and don't be ashamed if you go a grade under. It doesn't, or a level under, it does not match up with grade. They will tell you that. It can match up with grade, but it doesn't necessarily. And it has more to it than the level 3 that I showed you. This is the companion. I mean, it just goes into a lot of, there's very in depth with this. There's also a checklist that I buried under here. Well, she'll check off every day what she's supposed to do. And then that is all for level 7. I'm going to show you science and history now. Okay, for my teacher workbook section, I have some things I bought secondhand that I wanted just to keep incorporate. This is the CONUS curriculum. I think I'm saying it right. These are the subjects. I saw this on a video, and I'll probably just go through a couple times a week and pick something fun from there to do. That's just something extra I wanted to do. This is garden projects. I went through and tabbed what I'd like to do, just this extra outdoor work. I got this at Half Price Books. It's vocabulary for the gifted student. I don't think I have like advanced children with that or anything, but I do want to challenge them with their vocabulary and just make sure that they have a wide vocabulary. They learn all the words they need to and more. I want them to sound educated whenever they talk as adults, so we'll pick some words to go with that. For our spelling, it is over here. This is level 1. If you go and you look at all about spelling, this is baby work. But my 5th and 7th grader are doing them because we have never done all about spelling before. And they say if you haven't, you're going to have to start at level 1 or you're not going to make it because of the rules that they teach. So the words are super, super simple, but the rules are what is really neat. And I've already looked through them, and some of them I didn't even know. This is marine biology. This is our science that we're going to start off with. It will not take us the entire school year, so we are moving on to other courses after this. This is the good and the beautiful. I bought the digital file and I printed it out. Beautiful history. And I just realized when I went over the schedule with you, I did not show you that some days we have history, some days we have science. We alternate. I don't think I showed you that. But for the good and the beautiful history, we are incorporating this with the classical conversations. The good and the beautiful does not do history in timeline order, and they have a reason for that, which I think is really great. But since we're doing the good and the beautiful, I wanted it to just match up perfectly, and so I researched and researched until I found a document that just plain told me what to do. So I printed it, and it told me what lesson to incorporate with what week of classical conversation. So what I did was I bought the PDF files for the books I did not have, and the other ones I made a copy and put it in here because you can legally do that if it's your own document. And I put them all in order of how I will teach. So like it starts with lesson 13, year 1. That just, I'm going to separate it by tabs also, but I've got it all in order for the year so that I can coordinate it with our timeline. And I really think we're going to like their history. This is the rest of it. There's the big book of history stories for a couple of the years. And it's just got pretty pictures, different things to read. So just different things for them to actually visualize what you're teaching them. And we all really like history and like going through these kinds of things. So I think that will be neat. And then we are doing finance. That goes with our classical conversations, science experiments. We're doing finance. I've gone over this with them before, but we're going to do it again, especially since I have a 7th grader. You just can't talk enough about money. And so this is the Dave Ramsey Jr.'s guide, and just teaching them. They have those little envelopes in their piggy banks that have save, spend, and give, and they know about that. But I have one that's really good with it and one that isn't, and I just want them to grow up and be natural at it. So I'm going to go over a little more. And this is just a little American Girl's Guide to Money. I thought it'd be fun to go through something like that. And this will take us no time at all. We'll go through it and then move on to the next things, which are down here. These are just extra things. I've got Teach Your Child to Read and 100 easy lessons in case I find that we need more help learning to read in kindergarten. This is the Abeka that I told you I bought and decided not to use. This is one of the other courses we'll do for science. That's more Dave Ramsey. That's our second book. More phonics cards, things like that that we didn't need. yet or until the next year. Let's see. This is what we'll move on with after finance. This is for extras. I have in our schedule every week, there's some extra time where I teach an extra subject that isn't necessarily something that you learn in traditional school. But I wanted to go in depth over elections this year since it is election year, and we're going to have a mock election and just really go through how that works and everything. I think that would be fun for them. They're into that stuff anyways. So that's what we'll do after finance. So that is all for my homeschool video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that I've been able to help you or encourage you in some ways. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And if you have any requests for any other contents, please feel free to leave them. I'd love to make more videos. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.